The Rivonia trial is important because it did change South Africa. As everyone who said here, who said that that's absolutely true. But what we're going to learn in this course are a number of questions. We're going to learn about the politics of resistance, of revolution, and repression. You don't need to write this down now. We'll give you some notes later. So you just make a note if you want to remember something to ask a question about. So it's going to talk about resistance, revolution, and repression. Who can say what repression is? Repression is when you repress someone. You oppress or you repress. Repress happens in a moment or over time. And repression means very often it means using the police and the army against people. Right? And sometimes it's using law against people, and other times it's just taking the army and shooting them, like they doing in Syria and so on. Right? So it's important for us to understand resistance, revolution, and repression, because that's the past that we come from. The second thing that we're going to learn in this case, in studying this case, are the people who made up that revolution. And the first thing should be the people who made up that revolution. But in the case specifically, we are going to learn about the people who made up that trial. Because everyone says Nelson Mandela, and he was accused number one, and he was a great leader. But there were also other great leaders with him at that trial and outside the trial. So we're going to learn about the people. We'll also learn about the lawyers. We're going to learn about revolutionary strategy versus legal strategy. So strategy is when you decide how to pursue your cause. Strategy is when we all sit together and we say, our aim is to get a decent education system. Our aim is to get a society free of homophobia. Our aim is to get a society where everyone has decent homes and are safe. So that's the aim. The strategy is, how do we get there? The tactics are what you do every day or every second day or every month or every week. That's the smaller part. The strategy is the important part. The legal strategy means what the lawyers want to do. And it's how the two things link. What we want as activists and what lawyers want. And the aim of this course is to make you better lawyers than lawyers. Because in the struggles that you're going to have to make sure our environment is beautiful, not beautiful, but becomes recovered, that our rivers flow and the air is clean, and that water is clean, and that our land can grow, those sorts of struggles will require you as activists to know more about law than lawyers do, unless you want to become a lawyer. But then it's important to understand activism and to know your place. So sometimes lawyers want to impose their strategy, and it's important in this style we'll learn how revolutionaries imposed their strategy over lawyers. And the lawyers were among the greatest lawyers that the world has seen. The last question we'll learn is about law. And the law we'll look at comes from the Constitution, and it goes back to the past. What were the laws that charged Madiba and Sisulu and Mbeki and Katrada and so on? So the question is, those four things is what this course is going to aim, you get. We understand, all of us understand. And we get better at. We won't know everything, but if we get an idea of each of them and you can make a presentation on at least one of those topics, that's what you have to be able to do. You have to be able to make a presentation to at least one of those topics, to equalizers, to first year law students, to the staff at Rivonia, to your branch at the SJC or TAC, to the pride people who know nothing about politics, so all that stuff we have to be able to, we can learn. It's easy to learn.